Hello and welcome to episode 74 of From Impossible to Inevitable. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for pushing play on today's podcast and joining me today. So today I have an episode for you that will solve your grouchiness. That's right. Solve your grouchiness. Now, that sounds like an outcome we can all get behind. However, the solution might be unpopular. So that solution is to stop being grouchy about your choices. So most of the time, I feel grouchy when the dishes aren't done, or when I'm running late, or when I haven't decided on dinner yet. And these are all choices that I have made. So, okay, yes, there are other people living here that could do the dishes. However, I have not done them. Therefore, I don't get to be grouchy about it. If I'm running late, it's because I didn't manage my time well. Therefore, I get to just deal with it and I don't get to be grouchy about it. If I haven't, I was like, what was my third example? If I didn't take the time to meal plan before, then that's on me and I don't get to be grouchy about it. One of my favorite examples about do not be grouchy about your choices is that Jake loves the idea of food eating competitions. He doesn't really participate very much, but he loves the idea of it. He's always intrigued by it. And every time we come across one, I remind him of the rule. You can do it. You can totally do it. I support you. I will be there with you. You can do it. I do not want to hear you complain afterwards about how you are feeling. I do not want to clean up any of the mess if there is one. But mostly, I don't want to hear about how uncomfortable you are. I don't. Because you're going into this knowing that it's going to make you feel like crap, and I don't want to hear it. That probably deters him most of the time because he's like, well, I don't know if I can do this and then not complain about it later. Well, so, and then with the girls, I often employ this as like, I make it very clear to them when they are making a choice. Okay, do you want to bring your water bottle to the park? Do you want to fill it up? You don't want to fill it up? Okay, that's a choice. I don't want to hear about it later. When we get to the park and you don't have enough water, I don't want to hear about it. Like, you're going to be okay. We're not going to be there for years. So if you're thirsty because of your choice, I don't want to hear about it. I just don't. It's so easy when we're working with other people, our spouse, our coworkers, our children, whoever, when they're making a choice and you're like, oh, I'm going to hear about that later. Like, they are not going to love this. It's so easy to see in others, isn't it? You can probably think of some situations of like, oh, the person who's lactose intolerant yet, has a milkshake with lunch every day or something like that. You're just like, what? I don't, you know you're going to be sick. Why are you making this choice? Okay, it's fine if you want to make the choice, but I don't want to hear about it. So back to solving your own grouchiness. Take this view with yourself, okay? You get to be grouchy about something when you have absolutely done your very best to solve the problem, to, act with intention, to make sure that things go the way that you want to. If you have done all that you can, okay, take a few minutes and be grouchy and then lift yourself up. But you don't get to be grouchy about your choices when you know you have not done anything about it or done anything to prevent it or done anything to actually get what you want. Okay? Nobody wants to hear it. You don't want to hear it from somebody else. This is a tough love episode, isn't it? And you don't even want to hear it when you're doing it. because you know deep down, I can't be grumpy that there's dishes because I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Now, I can be grumpy if I was like, hey, Jake, dearest, do you mind doing the dishes tonight? And then he didn't do it in the morning. I'm just like, well, thanks. But even then, do you really want to choose to be grumpy? Do you really want to choose to be grouchy about it? Or you can just be like, oh, well, okay, can you do it today? Or be like, all right, well, you must have had a busy evening. I guess, I'll just take care of it. So, yes, you can ask for help, but this is not a do everything yourself episode. This is a get your grouchiness under control when you haven't done anything to get the results that you were wanting. And yes, there are going to be circumstances when you've done everything you can. Okay, enjoy your grouchiness for a few minutes and then move on. Like, let's solve it and move on. So that's what I have for you today. Another thing I want you to think about before I wrap up here. This is something that I say to my children quite often as well. When they are heading down that grouchy road, when they are going to be grumpy about something, when they are grumbling because they don't like what's for dinner or because they don't like this rule or that rule or whatever, I ask that I stop and ask them point blank, is this the choice you want to make? Is this behavior the choice that you want to make? Is this how you want to feel right now? And a lot of times my older one, she'll just like, I'm like, okay, that's fine. But always a few minutes later, not more than 10 minutes goes by before they are back to their fun-loving, happy selves. Not 10 minutes goes by after I've told them or I've asked them, is this the choice you want to make? Because that always makes it super clear that even though they don't like what's for dinner or they don't like that I've said no or they don't like whatever it is, they can be upset about it, but they understand that they are choosing to be upset. And that because they are choosing to be upset, they can also choose not to be upset. That doesn't mean they like what's happened. That doesn't mean they like whatever it is that made them upset. And that's okay. You don't have to like it. You can just choose your emotional state and choose how you want to feel. I feel like at least for my girls, I don't know all children, but at least for my girls, I feel like it's so much easier for them to change that dial from grumpy to happy than it is for adults. I feel like we're just like, well, I'm just having a bad day, so now I'm just being mad. We forget as adults, I feel like, that we can control that dial too. It's not just the kids, and as adults, we should be able to control it better. We should have had more practice with it, right? But it's not always that easy. And yes, there are extenuating circumstances. And yes, there's, depression and anxiety and things that are real, real struggles to work towards. So as you strive to turn the dial from, super grumpy and grouchy and feeling crappy, maybe you're not looking for a 180. Maybe you're not looking for the other side of the spectrum. Maybe you're just looking for, okay, well, I'm going to go from being grouchy to at least being pleasant. And that's still an improvement. That's still going in the right direction. But put your choices in perspective. Whatever's happened that's triggered this grouchiness, what did you do or not do to contribute to that? Because if you didn't do anything, you don't really have much of a basis to stand on because you didn't do anything about it. There you go. So next time, do something about it and then be happy about it because then you got what you wanted. There we go. That's what I have for you today. Thank you for joining me today on today's episode. Sorry this was a tough love episode, but maybe you needed it. Sometimes we all need some tough love. I told you in the beginning it was going to be kind of an unpopular one, but that's fine because sometimes that's how it goes. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have the best day. Until next time. Bye for now.